Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing off 22W46A, a joint snapshot for 1.19.3 and 1.20, which is a huge snapshot because it has /fillbiome in it, something I'm utterly stoked about. So, before I begin, remember, please like and subscribe, and also, I accidentally recorded this entire video while muted, so this explains why it's coming out a bit later than usual, because I'm not going to voice over my entire video. So, on to the changelog. So, here we are with the changelog, and there's quite a few features changed on here. I'm also going to be covering a little bit of 22W45A. So, books and chiseled bookshelves can be added and removed from any slot. So, that's quite large because now we can actually use chiseled bookshelves, almost completely replacing the normal ones. So, not entirely sure how I feel about replacing them outright, but still. Then we have mob heads on note blocks, which now produce custom noises for the mob's ambience. This pitch cannot be changed, by the way. The piglin mob head now exists. It's basically just a dragon head, but instead of mouth opening, its ears wobbling, and it's from piglins instead of random structures. So, bring a charged creeper to the nether, and detonate the creeper on a piglin, or bring piglin to overworld and detonate the creeper there. However, it will quickly zombify. Changes in 22W46A. So, we have just small things such as enderman skeletons and wither skeletons only spawning in light level 7 or below. You are allowed to complain about this, as evidenced right here. And some new top textures for bamboo blocks and blocks of stripped bamboo. Bamboo plank texture has been tweaked to match the same tiling pattern as other plank variants. Note, it's not the case. Some other changes. Telemetry is now actually legal. Yeah, it turns out they were collecting your information illegally, it seems. And, yeah, not much else to say. Besides, there is now /fillbiome, which is huge, and I'll cover that in-game. For our fillbiome command, we're going to be using just some deep dark, which doesn't have a default grass color. But this is already Badlands, so you can see what's going on. So, I'll insert the command, ignore the creeper summoning commands, and we can make it as large as we want, it seems, or at least less than 32,000 blocks. So, 50, -3, then 50, and we can change it to deep dark. So, you can see that's now deep dark. Albeit, there's no skulk because it only changes the biome type, not the terrain. Still, if I turn off F1, look, this is clearly a deep dark biome. This works for just about any biome. So, we could turn it into a birch forest. You can see that it's now slightly turquoise. Then, we could change it to a desert. Now it's yellow. So, there's a lot you can do with this. Any biome can be added, and custom biomes will probably work too. So, another thing, we can now use the mob heads in order to change the sounds of a note block. So, they're all just ambient noises. Player heads do work, however players don't make any noise, so it just disables the note block. So, each one cannot have its pitch changed, so going in survival for this, you can see it's just stereotypical mob noises. Nothing to say about that. So, in order to understand how a piglin head works, we just need to understand a little bit about the mechanics of how you get one. So, I'm going to place down 3 piglins, and you can only get 1 per charged creeper. They're all moving away, but if I detonate this, then you can see all those got detonated, but only 1 head dropped. Because the mob is random if you have a ton of mobs and different ones. So, don't think you can just combine a ton of mobs into a pit, then detonate the charged creeper. Instead, you have to do it one at a time. Then, for the planks change, you can see all the planks in the game have the same texture. They just all go along. And I somehow forgot crimson planks. But aside from that, you can see bamboo doesn't fit in, but it's slightly better now. So I'd call that a win. Then the top texture of blocks of bamboo and strip bamboo have been changed, even though I never showed them off, because I didn't make a snapshot video for that snapshot. But, cool textures. Then, for the actual penguin head itself, nothing to really say about it. You put it on, you walk around, the ears wobble. It uses the custom model, so yeah, it probably also reduces the aggro distance for penguins. So, if you're raiding a bastion without gold armor, this would actually help. Even if you do have gold armor now that I think about it, because chests. For the chiseled bookshelves, we can now have different parts edited. So, instead of just having them all go in at once, you can see if I just spam click, it's not filling the entire thing up. Instead, I have to manually look at each part. So, we can have a ton of different states for these. Albeit, that's going to be quite long on the tag list you can see on the right side of the screen. But, aside from that, it's pretty cool that you can now have each one be different rather than always having to be like this, or the order that originally was, where it would always have to go like that. For the final major change of this snapshot, we are going to be discussing telemetry. So, for telemetry, you have to open your menu. This probably applies retroactively, I'm not sure. And you can see there's another tab, which means it's uneven again and now I'm unhappy. But aside from that, you can see I can click on it, and there's a lot of things included in this. So, if you want to Mojang to use your info in order to make the game better, then you can opt in. So, apparently I've heard a lot of complaints that apparently the old system wasn't legal, which is why they've introduced this one, so that way you can actually opt out of non-essential info. So, I'd call this a pretty good change. So, for our minor changes, I'm only going to be showing off 2 of them, but I will mention a couple others, such as the fact that squids now actually use the old programmer art if you uninstall really just de-equip the new textures. So if you like those classic things, you can now have classic squid again. Then, Vex's new models. So, yeah, they just have a new model, albeit the laughing no longer makes sense. And they look very similar to Oa's. You can see they're literally just retextures of each other, albeit Vexes fly through walls and Oa's don't. And one huge change for map makers, well, maybe not huge, but very nice. If you do /effect, give yourself something incredibly long, such as, basically a million seconds. Then, originally it would just give you a colon and just some symbols about its length, but if I open my inventory now, as you can see, it's 277 hours, which is only a quarter of my Terraria playtime, but, of course, that's really cool, that you can now actually see the effect length. And with that, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, it really helps me out. So, take care, enjoy the rest of your day, Gearsaw out.